Action Comics number 3, written by Grant Morrison, art by Rags Morales, additional art by Gene Ha. We last left off with Superman escaping the facility that he was being held in by Lex Luthor, and Lex Luthor talking to some sort of alien ship thing on a cell phone. This issue picks up with the last days of Krypton, as is tradition, and there's some sort of party going on, just a bunch of, whining and dining, talking about, oh, did you see that on the teleband or whatever? And there's specifically talk of Jor-El, Superman's dad, hearing about, oh, the planet core is unstable and blah, 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 but everyone's just writing him off because, it's just a guy spouting off doomsday stuff. But his wife, Laura, who's taking care of baby Kal-El at this party, is like, hey, you got to get out of Kandor, because I guess they're in Kandor. You got to get out of Kandor because something's going on. She's like, oh, is it your tectonic plate things? He's like, no. Actually, there was a science professor who allowed an alien consciousness into, the system, and it's now turned on everybody and is going to kill us all. So get out of here, get off the planet. And then the science thing starts talking and saying, planet Krypton, you will soon be destroyed. I am preparing a backup of your imminent destruction, all of your data, and I will be taking all of you... Sorry, the Terminauts will preserve significant artifacts. However you want to read that. So, it's just this whole scene where a bunch of people screaming, oh no, geez, we're all going to die. And as Baby Kal-El, and Lara are getting away, Kal-El looks back and just sees the entire city of Kandor is absorbed in this giant green light. And throughout this, we've gotten tiny little panels of Clark in his bed, having a nightmare, and that was it. He wakes up, he was having a nightmare of the last days of Krypton. We move forward. His landlord's knocking at the door. He's getting a call from Jimmy. He has to get all the Superman stuff hidden. He stuffs it inside of a gym bag. And as the landlord opens the door, being like, Clark, are you in there? Apparently there are police behind her who just slam open the door, hey, Mr. Kent, let's have a chat. And they start looking around the room for anything specific. And basically it seems like they're in here not because they think he's Superman, but because he keeps on writing all of these super critical pieces about Mr. Glenn Morgan from issue 1. And because I guess he owns the police, he's able to just harass whoever he wants. So they get into a little verbal argument, and Clark's just like, me? I couldn't possibly know Superman. I'm just here to fight for the right thing. And he makes a few points to tell them how completely off their rocker they are. And they don't find anything, but as they're leaving, the landlord saw that they were about to go through his gym bag, and she took out the Superman gear, and he's like, okay, so you're Superman. And Clark's like, but then we never get the resolution of that. So we cut to a diner where Clark's having lunch with Jimmy, and basically they're just talking about man, Mr. Glenn Morgan is so evil and bad, but he's using his control over the media to make Superman out to be this villain, and it's distracting from the story that Clark Kent put out there of Mr. Glenn Morgan being evil and bad. And Jimmy's like, hey, by the way, Lois is going to show up. They're going to try to take you over to the Daily Planet from your current place, which is the Star. So Olive Branch, maybe go with it, because the Daily Planet's a big thing. It's like, dude, it's owned by Mr. Glenn Morgan. That is the exact opposite thing I want to do. So, again, no resolution to that. We get what I can only assume is a montage, because it's just a bunch of seemingly random stuff of people on TV talking about how bad Superman is. And then Clark's talking to his editor saying, oh, Mr. Glenn Morgan, what am I supposed to do now? And he tells them to go to some factory where they're making... they're going to be replacing the subway system because of the accident that happened in issue 1. And Mr. Glenn Morgan, of course, won the bid. So he's going to be replacing it with a brand new robot setup that's all automated. And then we see him dressed up as Superman. Girl's trying to get her cat down from a tree. A truck's about to run into her. Superman stops the truck, grabs the cat, and is like, oh, be more careful next time. The girl and the cat both freak out, and then people start throwing bottles and bricks at Superman. He throws his Superman gear into a trash can and says, "Sorry, Mom, Pa, I failed." So I guess that's the end of Superman. Picking up with the factory that's making the robot workers. Clark Kent's talking to the foreman, and he's like, "Oh yes, we've done such amazing things here at the robot factory." And Clark's like, but what about the fact that, there's a strike outside and all the job losses because you're making automated stuff, so people are upset they're losing their jobs. And he's like, wait a minute, I thought this was going to be a puff piece. You're not as nearly as nice as those other reporters. And we see that Lois Lane is there with Jimmy, and they're not happy to see each other. But as they're starting to fight and about to get kicked out by security, that same robot voice from Krypton starts talking through these subway robots, and nobody knows what's going on. They say the exact same things. If your planet's database has been copied and filed in advance of imminent destruction and extinction of all life, Terminauts will preserve significant artifacts. Then we cut to Sergeant Corbin, who you may remember from last issue. He's like, nope, I want to be the Steel Soldier. I'm going to do this for Lois so that she stops crushing on Superman and crushes on me instead. And he starts getting doused with what I can only assume is kryptonite because it's all green. But he's like, okay, this kind of hurts. This is ow, ow, ow. And then the robot voice starts coming through his own voice. And he's now the human embodiment of this alien consciousness. And he says, I am the voice of the colony of Collector World. He grabs some scientists and throws them away. And Lex is immediately there. He's like, hi, hey, Lex Luthor, we talked on the phone. I held up my end of the deal. So can you go ahead and keep up my end of the deal? And the robot is like, oh, okay, you held up your... Where's Superman? And that's how we end the issue. I like it. It's good. But dear Lord, this thing moves faster than a speeding bullet. I know what I said. It moved through literally from the dawn of Superman in flashback form to him quitting because it's just not working out. The whole gambit's covered here. And the one place it feels like it moves really slowly is the police investigating, because that lasts for a good 4 pages. And honestly, it didn't... I get it. It kind of explored a little bit more of this version of Superman being a bit more standoffy, but I'm still not totally in on it. But no, it's good. It's a solid issue. I'm giving this one a 7.5 as well. Art, pretty good all throughout. There are a couple issues here and there, but for the most part, it's a fine-looking issue. I couldn't tell where the art changed between Rags Morales and Gene Ha, so that's something at least. Maybe it was the Krypton, because that's purposely given a different look, though. But either way, it's a good issue. I just slow it down a little, Grant. Just a tiny little bit.